Let me ask you guys something, because I've got Mike Johnson's cronies bothering me on social media. And
now Mike Johnson is a part of the cronies?
He's a crony.
Okay.
No, because
Jonas cronies.
No, because he said the words, well, Nylander's a better player when we were referring to Meier. Okay? So now his cronies are out there saying, yeah, you got to listen to Mike Johnson.
Right.
He's right. He's better than Mike. Whatever the cronies are saying, okay?
Right.
So let me ask you this. If I ask 10 people in hockey, 10 people in the game, people that I know that are GMs, assistant GMs, and said, you've got an option, you got to take one or the other. William Nylander or Timo Meier, out of 10, what do you think the answer would be?
I'd say Nylander either 6'4" or 7'3".
For William Nylander.
Yeah, I'd probably say Willie 6'4". I'd say Willie 6, Timo Meier 4.
Yeah, depending on the GM because Meier's got some irritability to him. He's a big hitter, like that type of different player. So, yeah, I'm thinking 5'5" type of thing, 6'4", either Nylander, they're gonna say about the skill of Nylander, but then I'm gonna get the comments from the manager saying, that guy's pretty shy in very physical games, doesn't go to tough areas, and talk about Nylander. So I'm saying 5-5-0 for me. That's what I would get. I'd get a toss-up. What do you think?
I think it would be 8-2, Meier.
Think so?
Yeah,
8-2. Okay.
Anyway, moving on. What do you got, Hayes?
That's good. I like
nothing,
that.
Man.
I like that chat.
I got nothing.
No, I'm just tired of the people saying, you don't know what you're talking about. Nylander's 10 times better than Meier.
Well, what they do is they say he had 87 points.
So.
Well, it's just the nonsense.
Silly.
Like, it's just nonsense.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, some of the players that he got to play with compared to what Timo Meier was playing with as well. He gets the jersey, but in San Jose, it was a little leaner in certain situations. Like, again, you put Timo Meier playing with, John Tavares or playing with Austin Matthews because
I guess
Nylander
the point I'm
with
trying
Matthews
to make
quite
is
a bit
don't
this
bother
year,
sending me a tweet saying that William Nylander is a 10 times better player than Timo Meier because it's garbage and it's nonsense.
Well, and listen, Leaf fans, understandably, we're all guilty of this. You watch Willie play all the time. You don't see Timo Meier play all the time. So all you do is look at the stat sheet and say, well, Willie did this more than him. And you'd think we would know that collectively in this city. This is what I got to yesterday about Sheldon Keefe's comments about talent. Drives me crazy. Talent. It's like you got to have balance. You got to have different traits. You got to have different characteristics to your team. It can't just be. It's not a talent show. It's who has the deepest team with all of the necessary ingredients to win.
It's just like saying somebody potentially that could go on TV saying they speak very well, but when the camera turns on, they're not that, like, they haven't got there yet. It's like, if they speak very well, what does it matter? They don't do it when the camera, you know what I mean? It would be something like that where it's like, it doesn't, to say you have talent, it's great, but you need
there's
more
lots
than
of
that.
talented players in the league. Lots.
And
Every
Timo
team's
Meier is
got 'em.
talented.
Yeah,
Timo's talented. Pierre-Luc Dubois is talented. Willie's very talented. And Nylander's backed it up. 40 goals, 80-plus points. Like, that's what he is. I believe he's going to do that a lot in his career. I don't know if he'll hit 40, but I think he's 30-plus goals every year. I think he's 70-plus points every year, for the next 4 or 5 years. That's what I think he is. He's in his prime, and he's a really, really good player. Really good player. Mail-In Fridays brought to you by Boston Pizza. Weekends are better with fish bowls and frosty pints on the BP patio. Grab your sunscreen. Let's have a weekend. See you on the BP patio tonight. All right, Izzy Gutierrez will join us. You asked me if there'll be anything signed immediately in the NBA. Well, Draymond Green is on his way back to Golden State. 4 years, $100 million.
No kidding.
Yeah. The second Jordan Poole got traded, Draymond was going back.
Yeah.
The second they flipped Jordan Poole, Draymond was going to return. And even at the end of the year, Steve Kerr was talking about how integral Green was.
He said we're not a championship team without him.
Yeah. They need him, and they need him to be a leader. They need him to be the voice and kind of the heartbeat of the team, what he brings defensively. I mean, he's an example of that. Like, Draymond doesn't put up points. Like, there are a lot of games throughout the year he doesn't even come close to hitting double digits. but he's still incredibly integral, and he's very valuable because of everything else he does.
Yeah. You just wondered if his – obviously, we got our answer because he signs a 4-year deal back there. But it's – yeah, I wondered at some point if they grew tired of his act. Tired of the podcast after, tired, you punch a teammate, all of that. Obviously –
No, like this would suggest the complete opposite of that.
I agree, but I think there was times where we spoke on this show. It's like, okay, at some point they're going to have to divorce themselves from him because he's become more of a distraction, but that's not the case. In fact,
he's not a young guy anymore either, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a young guy yet. They're committing 4 years. Like, this is them saying we're going. Like, we're going with Steph and Clay and Draymond and Kerr, and hopefully Wiggins is a part of this, and
right.
They're going to just keep going and going and going, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. There was someone that tweeted this out. Ryan Clark tweeted this out. We got into it a little bit in the text chain. The only reason I bring this up is because Jonas has quote tweeted this. So Ryan Clark, who's a hockey reporter, tweeted out, hearing there's multiple teams that have reached out about Justin Hall ahead of tomorrow, and there's still a possibility he could return to the Leafs. Jonas Siegel, our main man, quote tweeting that, saying, at last check, I was told the chances of Hall's return to the Leafs were better than 0, but less than 50%. So
25%, 25%.
I don't think Leaf fans are going to accept that, though.
You're
telling me
there's
a 25% chance that Justin Hall's going to return?
I would guess it's less than 0.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right, Noodle, but I would have said that David Kampf returning on a 4-year deal I would have said 15%. Right?
I would have said 4.
Okay, then we both would have been very wrong. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
When a player like David Kampf signs for 4 years at, what was it, 2.8?
2.4 million.
2.4. I always wonder to myself, would he have said no to a 2-year deal at $2 million? You know what I mean? Like, if you present that to him, is he offended by that? Or is he saying, no way? I would think he would probably say, yeah, I'll sign that.
Yeah. I think he'd be so, captivated by the 4 years, he'd sign anything. 4 years, sure.
I know.
I'll take
that. Unless he had a deal for 3 years at 3 somewhere else. And the agent goes, we've got 3 at 3 somewhere else. And they go, okay, well, you want 9, 10 million. We'll do 4, but we need an AAV lower than this. So you need to so we'll give that 4th year to get the number down. That's the only thing I can think of is if there was some back channeling going, we've got 3 years at 3. Personally, I would have been like, congratulations, you can move on.
Yeah.
We can.
That's basically the same as Stahl in Carolina. The 4th year, everything.
Yeah, it's throwaway.
Right? Yeah, well, sure, but that year is going to come eventually. That's the thing. Sure, it's a throwaway, but at some point, what are we talking about? And it doesn't matter because we're not addressing the 2027 season. But does that become a buyout? Does that become you got to trade him and add a 3rd rounder to get rid of him? That's what I'm saying about the league. You see what's happening. All these contracts where it's well, that's a mess. Got to get rid of this guy. Got to eat money. And then it still happens where in the moment you're that's going to be a problem in 3 or 4 years. Yeah. That's going to be a big problem.
Well, don't you think that's going to be the bigger part of the discussion when signing guys? How many guys are going to sit down tomorrow and say, okay, we want to give this guy a deal. What is the probability of 3 or 4 years from now us saying this is a serious problem and we're looking at a buyout? You got to think about it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get it right with the way that money is so tight. You got to get it right.
So we talked about the Flames a lot. And, there are 4 players that they've got to deal with the Hanifin situation. Sorry, 3 now that they've traded Toffoli. But then you also have to take a look at Huberdeau, who's 30 years old. Kadri, who's 32, on term. Huberdeau's on term. I go down. Uyghur is 29, on term. Blake Coleman, on term. That's Blake Coleman's 31, got 4 years left. So you have to be careful, all these long-term deals of guys in-house, because all of a sudden you wake up and you go, you got 8 guys that are 33-plus or 34-plus. Not all of them are going to age well.
No.
So, you're thinking that here. We talk about it, and I'm not here to kick anybody in the junk, but John Tavares' deal has actually somewhat held up, but 11's a big number.
It's a big number, but he puts up numbers.
Right.
Like John scores.
Got 80
puts
points
up,
last year.
Every single year he puts up points.
But again, he's got 2 years left. There might be 1 year where it's like, man, the legs aren't there, man. The speed, like something like that, where it's like, God, that's going to be a tough number to swallow.
Well, and he's got a full no trade, no move. I don't think you can buy that out. Like I'm not sure that's going to be an option, and I'm not sure I don't think they'll be looking to do that. Again, if Tavares, if he replicates what he did last year, you'll take that for the final 2 years. Is it $11 million worth of value? No, but it's not $2.5 million worth of value.
Right.
Like it's still a very good, serviceable player. That's an $8.5 million player, right? Like if Tavares was a UFA tomorrow, he signed a 5-year deal with the Leafs, not 7. I think he'd probably get a 3 or 4 year deal somewhere with like $7 million. Something like
7
that.
or 8, yeah, absolutely, based on 80 points, right? So, you're right. So that's the biggest challenge. But I'm looking at organizations. You just mentioned it. Players. If you're looking at somebody that you got to go long term, give an extra year here, extra year there. At some point, you're going, we know that that's not going to age well, but we'll take the player for the next 2 years. You have to think that in this scenario here with the Leafs, you got John Tavares for the next 2 years. You've got, what are you doing with Nylander? What's Matthews end up signing? For some reason, I've always felt that Matthews will sign a longer term deal here. But I argued early on that it was going to be 3 to 5. Who knows? I'm hoping it's 5 just based on a little bit more stability. But,
I mean, again, you look at all these other guys. Again, he's above all these players. But Timo Meier signed for 8, and who else just signed for $8 million?
Dubois.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah.
Again, Matthews is in a higher category, but there's just 2 more guys. Like, of course I'll give you 8. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'd love to be here for 8. But with the Leafs, it's, and we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But if it's anything less than 8, I think he's got to explain himself. Like, I think he will owe the fan base an explanation on why he didn't commit for 8.
Right.
And I'd like to believe that'll be the question. Why wasn't it 8? If it happens, if it's not. And listen, if it's a 5-year deal.
And it might be a very simple explanation, Hayes, where it's like, I'd love to stay here and win, but there might be an outside chance if it doesn't work out, I'd like to go finish my career in the West Coast. And that might be as simple as it may be.
Maybe. I don't think he'd be that honest. I don't think he'll say that.
No, I know, but the idea, everyone's fascinated with the idea of the Raymond Bourque, Steve Yzerman situation where everybody plays their whole career. Like, do they really understand how unlikely that actually is? Like,
it doesn't happen often. It
right.
doesn't.
So if it doesn't happen with Austin Matthews, it's not like really like the end of the world abnormal. Like the careers, like guys, we're seeing it in pro sports nowadays. Guys are going different places, man.
Well, the only 2 that come to mind with longevity right now is Crosby and Ovechkin.
Right.
Yeah. So let's say this guy does commit for 5 or 6 years or something. It doesn't mean he's disrespecting the Leafs or doesn't want to be here. What will that be in total? That will be 12 years, wouldn't it?
If he signs for 5 or more, that's an extension of 5 on top of the one he's got left. That's effectively a 6-year deal. That's a long time.
Yes.
That's a long time. That's a big commitment.
It's not disrespecting anything in Toronto if he does that.
It's not, but it's still not 8. Is the point. Like, he could sign 8, like McKinnon did, like Pasternak did, like Dubois did. Like, all these other guys are like, yes, 8. 8,
I know,
8,
but so you're saying
8.
If it's not 8,
I think it's reasonable to, if it's not, just why not 8? Right? That's it. Just why not 8? Because the Leafs would love it to be 8. At least want it to be 8.
Well, in essence, that's
so why
9,
not 8?
really, right?
Huh?
Sign a 8-year extension. It's actually 9.
It is 9,
on the
which
next
is
year.
what Huberdeau did, right?
Well, yeah, his deal kicks in this year.
That's right. Listen, if it's 5 or more, then that's totally fine. Like it's ideally it's 8. I still think I'd like to hear the explanation as to why it wouldn't be. If it's 2 or 3, then your alarm bells are going off, But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Matthews moving forward. But there are other guys out there. Like, again, we mentioned the Justin Hall thing. You keep reading like Alex Kerfoot is a guy they're still talking to. Like, what is the Jerry's that one of Justin Hall or Alex for Kerfoot go to sleep tomorrow night as a Maple Leaf?
No, it's 0%.
0%.
And I'll bet you a side 5 Gs because I
5 Gs.
I'm not taking that bet.
Yeah,
I don't think it will happen either. You can put your hand down. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not taking that bet. But I don't think it's 0%. I don't think it's 0%. But I wouldn't. I'd take the bet if I thought it was 100%. But I don't think it is 100%. Probably 10%. All right, so what are we, 16 minutes in here? We got a lot of signings in the NBA, but nothing related to the Raptors yet. Here's Izzy Gutierrez of ESPN. Izzy, what do you make of Draymond going back 4 years at $100 million to Golden State? What do you make of that?
I mean, I think it makes sense. I think, as much as everyone believes you can just put another player next to Steph and, kind of reach that championship level, I think they would probably have regretted not doing something, one more run, going maybe different pieces around them, but understanding that, Steph is what makes that offense go, Draymond's what makes that defense go, and together, they can put enough pieces around them that together they can still be, top 10 on each side and figure they can make another championship run. So, I think it was asking too much to find just the right pieces around Steph, maybe the last third or quadrant of his career, and have it, be somebody as well of a fit as Draymond.
Izzy, how do you see things playing out with the Raps? There's Fred VanVleet, and just how do the dominoes fall and play out for the Toronto Raptors?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, it seemed for a while, with Nick and the way, he wanted to coach and sort of their, versatility and length at every position. And, Masai seems to like to build that way. I think it still makes sense, but it's just, not sure where they're getting pieces from. And it's kind of a same old, song and dance that I'm not sure if it feels the same, but from the outside looking in, it feels like, it's not quite the destination that it needs to be in order for them to build, I would say, properly and sustain something.
Yeah, that's what we've been discussing up here. Like, if you bring VanVleet back, they're probably going to re-sign Pirtle. You would hope they would, considering they traded for him at the deadline. Then you got Siakam, OG, Scotty a year removed from not a great season, but into year 3 if he keeps going.
Right.
We're just trying to figure out what the bar is. With a new coach, new attitude, possibly new approach, can they be like 4th in the East, 5th in the East? Like, that kind of feels like the bar, like 47 wins maybe if everything goes their way.
I think that sounds about right. I think you're always going to have, probably a Milwaukee team near the top. I think, you've got to wait and see what happens with Miami. I don't think they're going to keep swinging and missing on these big names that often. And, probably be considered a, high 40s, maybe 50-win team. Philly, I think, is a team to keep an eye on. Obviously, the Harden move and them potentially moving him for another player to pair with Embiid. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Embiid just starts to shake things up and say, maybe you move me. Because, when you look through the list of things that he's gone through with that organization, it's kind of crazy for a guy at an MVP level. So I wouldn't be surprised if he'd had enough. But I think, there's never going to be like a solid 8, right, of just, 45, 46 win teams. And I think, as long as Scotty has sort of a rebound year and as long as, Pascal kind of continues that, all NBA level, I don't know, what new coach, new, approach is going to do necessarily one way or the other, but seems like it should be enough to be, kind of right where you said.
It's interesting you say that about Embiid. It sounds like, people are circling the wagons in Milwaukee, too, when it comes to Giannis. Are you a believer that that's a possibility that Giannis could be on the move at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I believed it was a realistic option the first time, just before he won a championship. And, Miami was definitely pressing there. I think there was another couple organizations kind of wondering what was going on there. And, it felt like it would have been a totally understandable move for him to move on then. And, when he didn't, it was like, oh, he's a great superstar for them. He's going to win them a championship, and he did so. But, he also went through a couple of coaches, and now with a new one, for him to withstand more of the same and, obviously hasn't been back to the finals. I think he is sort of also ready to maybe move on if he doesn't. And, I think the part about him after losing where he talked about what failure is or whatever, I think he'll always just kind of reassess what it is that he wants. Like, I think everybody thought, oh, okay, he's fine with Milwaukee for the rest of his career, and I don't think that's necessarily the case either. I think Giannis does what makes Giannis happy, and that might change from year to year. And so, yeah, I think he should be somebody to keep an eye on as well.
What is your read on Kyrie Irving? How do you see this playing out for Kyrie?
What I didn't see is all this leverage all of a sudden, outside of Dallas, I'm not sure if the Heat are acting out of desperation. I'm not sure if what are the other teams involved there.
Well, Phoenix is getting some buzz.
Right.
Could he reconnect with LeBron? I don't know.
Right. The Phoenix thing, it just seems like a possibility, frankly. It just seems like, that's not going to be where they go if they add another star. Now, I know they don't love DeAndre Ayton, but he's also pretty much the only high-caliber big that they have. And so I just don't see that happening, and I also don't see Kyrie taking any sort of a discount or any sort – certainly not a minimum, but any sort of a discount to play anywhere. So, Dallas is the team that's desperate here. Dallas is the side that's desperate because they gave up draft picks. They gave up the farm to go and take a chance with Kyrie, and, not even making the play-in is not exactly the cash-in that they're expecting. And so they've got to hope that nobody really pays them, and I don't think anybody really will, at least not long-term. You might see a team, dangle the type of stuff that was thrown at Fred, like 2 years and $80 million, but I don't think you'll see long-term outside of Dallas for Kyrie.
Where do you realistically think Harden ends up?
Well, the Clippers just make a whole lot of sense. They need some organization. They need some, at least from the top, at the beginning of the offense. And, they need somebody who's going to be able to play 75 games or so. And so I think he would stabilize them, and I think he would probably be in a spot where he feels like he has even less pressure than he had in Philly. Because in Philly, as that number 2 guy with Embiid, I don't know if it's just Embiid that makes it happen, but that second guy kind of feels a lot of times like sort of a panicky, it's on me now type of situation. I do think that Embiid kind of puts that on them, but I think as a guy that would be essentially just sort of an orchestrator or a third guy behind those 2 forwards in LA, I think that would make the most sense.
Well, Izzy, we appreciate you finding time for us. Bedlam in the NBA right now, so good luck tracking it, and we'll do it again soon. Thank you for this.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
Izzy Gutierrez of ESPN.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm seeing Chris Haynes tweeting in. Kristaps Porzingis expected to finalize a 2-year deal, approximately $60 million with the Celtics.
Oh.
So that's an extension. Yeah, we've got. There's a lot going on here. A lot going on.
I think it's interesting.
Deal?
Kuzma back to Washington at big money.
Didn't they just cut him or something?
Yeah,
something weird.
I think he opted out, but it's because that's the NBA, right? Every couple of years, players are eligible for a new deal or opting out, or there's a team option, and Kuzma back there on a big ticket.
Harden potentially to the Clippers.
Yeah,
my buddy Joey's a big Clippers guy. He would love that.
It's exactly what they would do, though, and it would go nowhere.
No kidding.
Like, that's as bad as it sounds. That's probably the truth. Like James, you can't trust Kawhi anymore. You can't. He's been so injured for years now. I just don't think you're ever going to get the best out of him ever again.
No. His load management is the old Timo Solani, where it's like, I'll join the team in February and see if I can keep it together.
Right.
I know.
What else could you expect?
No, exactly.
I just love that. I love that owner. Like, that owner just is.
Yeah, Steve Ballmer gets after it, man.
Yeah, I want them to have success. I love that. The owner, I mean, the guy's passionate. He spends money. Like, he just, whatever the team needs, he's on it.
True.
I am so excited.
He's very excited. James Harden acquisition, he would be very excited. Very excited. All right, Dear Hayesy-B coming up. Last Dear Hayesy-B for the summer. And, again, we're here to help people. So we'll get to that. Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel. Tracking the NBA free agent ticker. It's officially open. Jays Sox tonight as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
So then you asked yourselves, isn't there something more to life?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, well, let me clue you in on something. There isn't.
She said looks aren't that important to her?
Dear Hayesy-B.
My God, I got a couple of words for you. You better get your act together.
You guys know the deal. Last one for the summer. Last chance to help out.
Yes.
Hayesy-B, I'm expecting big things from you.
So am I.
Some great advice. Gotta hand it out.
I have high standards.
Dear Hayesy-B ran into Noodles at Nickelback on Sunday, gracious enough to take a photo despite me being halfway to Nick Cage. That is good on you, Noodles. That is good on you. I'm hiking at 7 a.m. tomorrow, but Blink 182 is in town. Do I go Nick Cage again and suffer the consequences, or have a pint on the patio and rest up?
Wow, this guy loves concert going, man.
God.
He loves having a good time. Blink 182, they're a cool band, man. I'm a fan of Blink 182.
I am a huge fan of them.
I think you got to take advantage. Listen, the hike will be there whenever, right? Those mountains, they're not going anywhere. Blink 182 doesn't live in Edmonton. They don't play local bars, all right? So if Blink 182 is in town, probably maybe the last time ever. You know, maybe they roll through time again, but you never know.
Doubtful.
You know, I think didn't they just return? They were broken up for a long time.
Dude, you're hiking. You're not doing a Tough Mudder. You absolutely just steer the pedal to the floor.
Yes.
You can never.
Yes.
You go, Nick Cage.
Ask me to stop drinking.
You just got to be careful. That's 7 a.m., though. That's
but
a
you
bit
can
rich.
adjust that. It's not a tea time at Pebble Beach. Again, you can go hiking at 9:30. That's your play.
Well, who are you hiking with, though? That's the thing. Are they gung-ho because they didn't go to the concert, and you're going to pour yourself into a hike? Mm-hmm. They're going to roll you up in a wheelbarrow. You can't do it. You got to figure.
I'm guessing significant other. You know, it's a Canada Day thing. Probably let's go up. You know, enjoy the beautiful scenes of Canada, which is great. But guess what? Canada Day is a 24-hour event. Push it back a couple hours. Bring a lot of water with you. And yeah, like O said, you're hiking, right? Have the right shoes and go for a bit of a hike. And the thing is about a hike, a marathon, you have a certain amount of mileage you got to run. A hike, you can determine that. A hike can be 100 meters. Say, we hike
how
for
about
a bit.
this? How about this? 5:30 a.m. I just got up and my ankle's bad. I'm not hiking today.
There's another way to do it.
Rolled your ankle.
Blew my ankle out at Blink 182.
Speaking of Canada Day, dear Hayesy-B, Brian, I'd like you to comment first on this.
Sure.
The wife decided to host a barbecue for July 1st. I told her I'd tee off at 8, so she knew I'd be home to grill. I didn't tell her it was a doubleheader, which this greasy you-know-what is playing 36.
Yeah.
I will be tight for time and in no shape to be trusted with an open flame. Do I floor it or be the family man?
Well, there does seem to be a very reasonable way to kill two birds with one stone here.
Which is what?
Play 18 and then go home.
Like, you can't get greedy. You need to go around that golf course again.
Exactly. I happened to run into a good buddy of mine. There's something about a guy who's playing 36. They just got a different glow, right? And I saw a buddy of mine today who had played 18 at another track, and then was bringing the boys out to play 18 at Coppenwood this afternoon.
That's a lot of work, man.
It was a lot of work. And they were having beers, too. They were having lunch. I'm like, man, these guys are really, really leaning into it.
That's a commitment.
It's a big commitment. Listen, if you love golf, I get it, man. They were playing Scarborough, which is a great track. And anyway, it doesn't matter. Point being is this is very simple. Play 18. Tee off at 8. Get there early, hit the range, do what you got to do, play 18, and go home, and then barbecue, and you're all good, right?
Yeah. Keep it on the track. Keep it on the rails. Play 18, have some Diet Cokes, and absolutely get after it while you're barbecuing. Is that difficult for you? If it's not, you got a problem.
Exactly.
Well, but I mean, you're around buddies. They want to crack a few. Just be smart. There's a cab home from there if you have a couple, but just be mindful around an open flame, though, too, because you
get a ride, take an Uber, and you can have 8 Bud Lights on the course, and that's it. And then get it
exactly.
Home,
it's all good. It's all good. Easy solution.
Noodles, I feel like you could respond the best for this one.
All right.
Dear Hayesy-B, my girlfriend in hashtag or in brackets wife material is meeting my parents for the first time tonight. She asked what small things my mom likes so she can bring her a gift. I told her my mom likes scented candles, and she bought a coconut-flavored candle. The only problem is my mom despises coconut, which I failed to mention. Do I, one, inform the girlfriend of my error potentially upsetting her? 2, let the gift go through potentially upsetting my mom? Or 3, pull a fast one and secretly swap the candle for a different kind in hopes neither notice?
I think it's option 3. If you have an opportunity to, match the candle, I mean, you're killing 2 birds with one stone, because I think it's very thoughtful that the wife material girlfriend wants to do something nice for the potential future mother-in-law.
Right.
But the mother-in-law would fake it, though. She'd be like, oh, this is wonderful. But then the minute you left, she wouldn't use the candle. Swap it out, none the wiser, unless a big deal's made about it. Said, what happened? I bought you a coconut one, and then you have to call it out. Because if she calls you out and says,
prep both husband and wife future, you have to come clean and say, I screwed up, and we just got to swap out the candle for a different scent because she hates coconut, and I failed to mention that. Mm-hmm. So let's just be quick on the fly, make the adjustment, and everyone will be happy.
That's right.
You don't need to take offense to it. You don't need to get mad at me.
Yeah.
Let's just go swap it out for something else.
Quick swap out. That's the move, right? That's right.
Potpourri scented.
That's the play.
Yeah.
And assuming the receipt was kept, probably emailed, everything else is in this world. So it's all good. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, quick detour before we hit dinner. We're just going to pop back into wherever you happen to be. We're going to flip it out and get something else. It's all good. Because you're right. Like, there's a chance, if you chance it, your mom may say something, not intentionally, but it could just be, oh, thanks so much. It's so thoughtful. I don't love coconut. And then you're screwed.
Yeah, backhanded comment that goes south.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, and then what you're going to get is daggers because you were supposed to tell her that coconut's a no-go. Right? A no-fly zone, and you didn't do that. So save any possible hassles or any
If you go and swap that out yourself without telling anyone, you're playing a dangerous game.
Very dangerous game.
Because if she grabs the candle and says, roses, I love that, and then she goes, I didn't get roses, I got coconut, and then he says, no, I didn't. Then you've got a massive...
You're not that guy.
Yeah, but you might have to. I would roll the dice. No. I like the fact that you go... Out. Yeah, just right in the front door, and you say to her, I messed up. I should have told you that. But still, I still believe there could have been a swap out, an easy one, that no harm, no foul here. Nothing
and if you want to do 900 games in the NHL move, you swap it out yourself, and enclosed with the new candle is a spa day for her and her girlfriend. So it's like no harm, no foul, and you also get a bonus day. Think about it.
Look at that. 900 games.
Dear Hayesy-B, I'm the only single guy going to the family cottage this weekend, and everyone else is wifed up. That's a tough one. I love to tee it up, but don't feel like waiting around for the other couples to figure it out. Do I third wheel it or ride solo and enjoy my weekend teeing it? This guy's a loser.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one, dude. You know,
you got to get a date for that weekend, pal.
You got to find a way, or you need to have some sort of predetermined plan where you're going to get someone on that tee box with you. Because, you know, just cruising around playing, you know, local muni tracks as a solo, I'm telling you, that is radioactive material.
Yeah, and you are looked at as the devil from other people that are looking. If you got weird shorts and bad golf shoes, and they're like, I'm getting paired with that guy.
I had the same experience no more than a year ago. My good friend Adam and I, we were up there. We were up at the cottage. You know, our wives, the kids are like, go play. We were playing early, right? Like, that was the understanding. We'll go out. We were teeing off at like 7. And we get there, and the place is wide open. There's nobody there, and a single comes up. It's like, you guys mind if I join? We're like, dude, are you serious? Like, we want to play music, and we got to be quick, and I guess. You know, it was just like, no, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to show up solo and start jamming up other pairings or 3-packs.
I also think it's totally acceptable if someone says, hey, mind if I join you? It's acceptable to say it's not okay.
Oh, I've done that. Admittedly, I've done that before.
Yeah,
just said, you know what? I got someone out with me. We're doing stuff, you know, we're playing at a different pace or we're playing whatever. And it can be very, very awkward.
No, it is. I think the only thing you can say is, we're in a big match right now, and we just don't want to confuse anyone or hold anyone up.
Exactly.
But it's just when you get in a groove and you got a friendship with someone, you just don't. I don't know. It's just a guy can put a wrinkle in things, man.
That's all it is, man. It's not like, and you'll be accused of being antisocial or rude.
Oh, worse. You get accused of being worse.
And it's not that. It's like, dude, this is a 4-hour commitment.
Yeah.
We're about to play for 4. What if you're 15 practice swing guy, you know, or what if you're really talkative guy or walking guy and we're waiting for you on every single shot?
It's
like,
just
come on.
a no. It's just a no.
Come on. Can't do it.
Yeah.
This one has sports and other things involved. Hayesy-B, I'd like you to go first. Dear Hayesy-B, we have a tight friend group. One of our buddies is getting married next weekend, and our other buddy just got called up to the Chicago Cubs.
Whoa.
Jared Young. We won't be going to Chicago to watch him, but we'll be attending the wedding. The guys aren't very familiar with the fiance's family, and it will be our first time meeting them. Would it be appropriate to stream the game at our table during the wedding ceremony? Thanks for the help.
So, I'm very curious when that.
By the way, I'm going to
start.
Chicago if I'm tight with the guy.
That would be amazing. Yeah, you go to Wrigley for a debut in the bigs.
Your buddy?
Yeah, if you're really close with him. Now, it can be complicated if you're really close with the groom too. Right?
Doesn't matter.
If you're equal, it does matter. If you're equally, you know, there's going to be one wedding day. If he's in the bigs for 15 years, you're going to have a lot of time to go see him play. But I mean, it depends on first pitch. More importantly, depends on first at bat. You know, if it's during the ceremony, is tough. I don't think you can pull it off. I know you see that online, that people are doing it online. I think once you get to your table, all bets are off. Absolutely, you stream that game. Absolutely. Like if you're sitting at the table and it's 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock Central Time in Chicago, first pitch is, you know, 6:37 Central Time. You're watching that thing, and you're certainly tracking whenever he's going to have an AB or whatever. All day. Totally
it has
acceptable.
to be on. It has to be on somewhere. The problem is the people at the wedding, do they know him as well? Would they be interested in?
Probably not, but that's not your problem.
I know. It's tough. Like, it's a tough situation, but you could have it on your phone. You could have it anywhere where, you know, you could be watching it at your feet and have like an iPad or something there. You could find a way to watch that game for sure.
Well, I say go a big screen, and we got one more to get to because this one sounds like a real winner. Mm-hmm. Dear Hayesy-B, a friend of ours organizes a top-notch annual out-of-town golf tournament. Competitive golf, heavy boozing, massive feed, live music, the works. The field was recently expanded to include a few more of the fellows, including our pal Skip. After being committed to the tourney for a few months, Skip has dropped out last minute to attend his new girlfriend's brother's engagement party. Skip typically boasts a Frank the Tank type presence at events like this, but ever since acquiring the new girl, things have changed. His absence will leave the rest of the boys on the hook for the cost of his accommodations, green fee, food, etc. Do we cut Skip some slack for his newfound love? It's been a while, and you know what I mean, brackets. Or do we cut him from future invites? We need your guidance. P.S. Friend of Chaz from Osler and a friend of the show.
Who was this that sent this in? I'm curious who that was. Because I happen to just come across the exact same situation.
In your life?
Yes. The exact same situation. No more than 2 weeks ago. Where
you had a guy bail on that trip?
We had our Skip pull the pin after our Skip was the one talking the biggest smack, the biggest game, calling out all the married guys, saying you're all whipped and you're loser, you can't do anything. And then this guy gets a new girlfriend and he pulled the shoot. It was the most pathetic move in our friendship's history.
Wow.
So here's what you do to old Skip.
You gas him for life.
Oh, no. You know what you do to Skip? Here's what we did to Skip. Immediately, Skip is removed from the group chat. Immediately.
For good?
Well, no, you bring Skip back in when it's go time. When you're there at the trip, when you're having a great time, that's when you re-add Skip and you make sure Skip is aware of what you're doing. And you send him a message, make sure he gets it, and then you delete Skip again. And then you bring him back into the group chat an hour later when the boys are having pints. Absolutely. It is completely unacceptable for Skip to pull the pin like that on the boys. Can't happen because my Skip, I got a Skip in my life.
It wasn't Davey, was it?
And he'll never live it down. No, it wasn't Dave. No. This Skip will never live it down. And he knows it, too. He knows it. But
is he still with the girl now, or is it like it a short-lived type of thing?
Yeah, and it was a situation where I guess it was they had other plans, and then there was another thing, same kind of thing that he had to go somewhere. So he had some big explanation, but no one wants to hear it.
No,
right? No one wants to hear it from Skip. Anyway. Quickly.
Anyway, that's the finale of the Dear Hayesy-B. Thanks to everybody writing.
That just got a lot off my chest.
Exactly.
Skip,
that was awesome.
Unacceptable.
So you haven't spoken to Skip, your Skip?
No, I've spoken to Skip, and Skip, he's still our friend. You still got to love Skip. It's not about not loving Skip.
Yeah, it's the greasiness of it.
Yeah, and Skip's a big personality, and Skip's a guy you want, in the foxhole. And Skip was talking a big game, and then he pulled the shoot. And you pull the shoot. You guys know how it is, right? You're going to take a lot of heat for that. Shams Charanian tweeting out, Kyrie Irving has agreed to a 3-year, $126 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
So Dallas is bringing him back at over 40 a year, 42
That's
a year.
Insane, man.
42 a year to bring Kyrie back after it completely imploded when they picked him up. I wonder what Luka's thinking right now.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Well, they're desperate. I mean, when they acquired him, I guess it was like we're all in because we got to find a way to keep Kyrie Irving. Mail-In Friday is brought to you by Boston Pizza. Weekends are better with fish bowls and frosty pints on the BP patio. Grab your sunscreen and let's have a weekend. See you on the BP patio tonight. We'll get to our best bets. Brought to you by FanDuel. We'll do that next. All right, today's best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. On the Jays money line tonight, little SGP here, all right? We got Jays money line, Vladdy to get a hit, Barrios 5+ strikeouts. That's an alternate strike prop, but I like it. Jays money line, Vladdy to get a hit, Barrios 5+ strikeouts tonight. There's a little SGP paying over +200 on FanDuel. Pays about +209. Today's best bets powered by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and find thousands of ways to wager. Please play responsibly. Must be 18+ and physically located in Ontario. All right. Free agent frenzy tomorrow. 12:01, I would expect similar happenings to what is happening in the NBA right now.
Yep.
Some Raps news for you, Hazy.
Yeah, Caperto, there you go. 4 years, $80 million. So they gave him the 4th year. 4 years at $80 million, according to Woj. And Chris Middleton, 3 years, 102 to stay in Milwaukee. All these deals are coming. It's going to be wild, man. Yeah. Player option, I guess, for Pirtle. Yeah, I mean, when they traded for him, they had to sign him. Like, that's what they made clear. When they traded for Poeltl, they were going to sign him. That simple. And now we wait on Fred VanVleet. And if they bring back VanVleet, what are they? I don't know. They're probably a good team. They're a good team. So take that for what it's worth. All right, boys. Great stuff as always. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes, everyone for tuning in today. It's going to be a good summer. It's going to be a very good summer. Yep. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your weekends. We're back Tuesday at...
In 2 months, 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.